Tyler Terens standing by, play-by-play commentator for Major League Soccer on Apple TV, and does a great job. And, of course, strong history of the Chicago Fire. This is the center of the soccer world.
Oh, yeah.
Center of the soccer universe tomorrow night when Miami's in town. And the Michael Jordan of soccer, Lionel Messi, will be on the pitch. We'll have the game for you tomorrow, 7:30 on the Big 890 WLS. Proud to be flagshipping it for the Chicago Fire. And good morning, Tyler. How are you?
Hey, Tyler.
Good morning, Steve and Jane. How you guys doing?
We're fine. I keep calling him the Michael Jordan of soccer. Overstate, or is that about right for you?
I honestly, I think it's an understate at this point.
Understate?
Wow.
How can it be an understatement?
I don't know if that's possible with his airness, but I mean, Lionel Messi is the greatest of all time. There's no debating it. Anybody who says Ronaldo is just burying their head in the sand. They don't want to look at the facts, but he is the greatest of all time.
Now, it's tough to compare eras, and people go, whoa, what about Pele? But it was a different game then, right?
Completely different game. And I think that the mania and the way that Messi has taken this country by storm and the way that soccer is growing, the way that it did back in the 70s when Pele joined the Cosmos, I think that the effect on the country and sort of the culture is the same, but it's impossible to compare those eras. The game has just completely changed.
All right, who would you put in your top five? Messi and who else?
Oh, it's Messi, it's Ronaldo, it's Pele, I think it's Johan Cruyff, who recently passed away, who was, a great Ajax and Barcelona player for a number of years.
You get one more?
And then how about the youngster, Brian Gutierrez, Chicagoland's own? No, he's in my top five.
I love that.
Got to prove himself, though, right? I mean, a little more work to do.
A little more work to do, but he's been incredible. I mean, for a kid who joined the Chicago Fire first team at 17 years old and sort of has been asked to carry a lot of the creativity and a lot of the playmaking load for the Fire over the past couple of years, he's been outstanding, and it's only a matter of time before he's going to get sold to Europe and really start to blossom.
Jane, say hi.
Hi, Tyler. Are you the guy, because I'm excited about Messi coming here, but I'm really excited about your career. But I want to know, are you the guy that sits in a bar with your buddies and then you're the when you're not working, you're actually doing the play-by-play, and then others around you, and it could be for another sport or it could be another team, and all of a sudden people are looking at you like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I try to avoid sometimes going into just random spurts of play-by-play. My really good friends will be the ones who, sort of tell me to shut up, and they offer sort of like a mute option for me while we're sitting down at the bar. But there are times when I'm with people who I maybe just met or like I'm just recently friends with, and they'll be like, do a little bit of play-by-play for me. So sometimes, I do tend to be that guy, and I'm a bit of a jabroni. But for the most part, if I'm not working, I like to just try to watch the game without offering some free commentary.
Tom is vice president of football, so I'm going to get Tom in here for a question. But before we do that, one more on Messi, who will be there tomorrow night. For people that are attracted to the game because Messi's in town, what do you want them to look for?
I mean, the biggest thing, I think, is going to be sort of what role he's going to play, right? I mean, he's been battling an injury. We're not exactly sure whether he's going to start, whether he's going to come off the bench. The biggest thing to look for is just watch the way that watch his lack of movement and how he just sort of switches on into the game at a moment's notice. He's not running all over the field anymore. He doesn't have that sort of energy left in him at 34, 35 years of age. But what he does in sort of his ability to float in and float out, and then literally at the drop of a hat, he takes over a game. You give him one opportunity, but especially for young players out there who think it's all about fitness and running and making sure you're always moving. He's at his best when he's sort of just waiting for the moment and he's finding the pockets of space, maybe without moving and letting the defense sort of forget that he's there.
So kind of a Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky's secret was always knowing where the puck was going, not where it is.
Yes. Exactly. It's that sixth sense, right? It's like a surfer who can sort of sense when that big wave is coming and not jumping the gun. It's that you're exactly right. So yeah, that's exactly the type of player that he is, and he's got that gift to be able to sense when the moment's coming.
Talking to Tyler Terens, play-by-play MLS on Apple TV. Tom?
Well, I wanted to ask you this, Tyler, because we've seen so many soccer legends come across the States, and it was a big deal. Pele back in the day, David Beckham, and they were all supposed to herald a new age of U.S. soccer, and it kind of worked. I think soccer has gotten more popular over the last few decades, but does Messi's arrival really signal that next step for the popularity of the sport in the United States, or are we just going to have to wait till another guy comes across and has to do more work to make this the biggest sport in the
Man,
U.S.
if not Messi, when?
This is the $1 billion question, right? Because this is the question that everybody's asking after you basically gave Messi ownership in the league when you're giving him a cut of subscribers on MLS Season Pass, right? It's about $89 to subscribe, and Messi's getting a chunk every single time somebody's subscribing. So he has ownership in the league, and everybody wants to see what the return is going to be on that. The answer right now is obviously we don't know what the lasting impact on this is going to be. It's a several-year deal, but at the end of the day, what everybody is worried about, even while he's still in his first season, is what is this going to look like once he leaves? Are all of those subscribers then going to delete their subscription, like a lot of us do with some of the stuff that we subscribe to in some of the streaming services? And what is the sustainability of the league going to look like when he exits? I mean, we're still seeing some moments where he's taken out of a game, and there are some fans who simply are going to leave or going to go get a beer or whatever it is, because a lot of them are just there to see Messi. But there's no denying the uptick in the popularity of the sport. My friends and people that I know that don't watch soccer at all are now knowing what's going on in Major League Soccer, which is a great thing. But I think the other thing we have to keep in mind is that this is coming at a really opportune moment, with the World Cup being hosted in the United States, Mexico, and Canada in 2026 as well. So you're creating this mania and a lot more interest in the sport when the World Cup is also coming here. And the last time the World Cup was in the United States, Major League Soccer was born just a couple of years later. If you think back to Tony Meola and the United States team opening up at Soldier Field in 1994, and we then have Major League Soccer after that. So it's only a matter of time before we actually see the fruits of the Messi labor. But for me, and from where I'm standing, it's not a bad thing, and it's going to attract more eyeballs. And because the greatest of all time decided this is where I want to go, you're going to get a lot of young South American talent and a lot of young European talent.
Which is huge.
Going to say, okay. It's massive, because then the big European clubs are going to be looking at MLS more, and they're going to want to buy players, and they're going to want to pump money into the league, and that's only going to allow for Major League Soccer to be able to open their doors up more and to be more competitive.
I'm telling you, the Fire have an opportunity right now with Chicago sports being in a bad down phase.
Absolutely.
As bad as the Bears are.
Yep.
The Bulls in another year of the rebuild. So I hope they can take advantage of it. Look, I was lucky enough to see Tom Brady play live, lucky enough to see Gretzky, lucky enough to see Michael Jordan. I never thought Messi played enough defense, but I'm going to take your word for it, and I'm going to go out tomorrow night and suit up. And if the Fire need me, I'll be ready.
I hear that you're one of the best kept secret in Chicago. That's what I don't know if it's true. I would,
Yeah.
But for anybody who's thinking about going, who's on the fence, or maybe wants to grab a late ticket, like, this is going to be one of those moments where you're going to be like, man, I wish I went to that game. There's going to be a great fan fest outside of Gate Zero. There's a surprise award-winning artist who's going to be performing during the game as well. I hear it's a huge, huge name. We're not going to leak anything just yet, but I mean, this is going to be an amazing. Exactly. This is going to be an amazing day of soccer and a really, really big night for Chicago sports.
Thank you, Tyler.
Very exciting.
Nice work on Apple. You do good
thanks,
stuff.
Tyler.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Speaking of Apple, Apple Plus, you watching the newsroom? I mean, the morning show?
Of course. Yeah, watching the morning show.
Yeah. 4 episodes out, I've watched it. Most ridiculous premise that would never happen.
Because it's season 3, season 4. It always gets a little crazy.
But really good performances. And the guy that runs the network, he's just a great ass. And I don't mean he has one. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
He's just, as a management type, he just has it nailed.
Yeah, he's good. Can we have Tyler back on the show sometime? He's great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm going to Italy for a couple weeks. He could just do the show. Have him come in and fill in.
He'll do play-by-play.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?